When it comes to being a New Yorker, I love being from New York. I love the fact that I was born and raised in New York. However, New York City policies suck. Now, the reason why I am making this video is because we need to be aware of these things. And on top of that, it is election year, so we got to be careful who we vote for. Keep in mind, I am not a Democrat or Republican. Both got flaws, but when it comes to the Democrats of New York City, they are running this place to the ground. And they got this program going on. It's a proposal right now, and they call it the City of Yes for Housing. And although it sounds great to give out affordable housing, they are going to destroy New York City even more. And with this program, they are going to have us so cramped up like sardines. It's ridiculous. And they want to get rid of single family housing. So if you are someone that wants to own a home, if they pass this City of Yes for Housing, you could kiss that home goodbye. With New York City, we have 5 boroughs that make up the city: Manhattan, Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, and the forgotten borough where I live, Staten Island. 5 boroughs. And out of those 5 boroughs, 3 are for it, which is Brooklyn, the Bronx, and Manhattan. Queens is a bit iffy. And Staten Island, where I reside, the president out here is like hell to the no. And I am for that, and I'm going to explain why. So with the City of Yes for Housing, they want to get rid of parking, at least limit it. So because there's going to be so many houses being built, so many apartments, shall I say, there's not going to be enough room for parking. There's going to be too many people here. And therefore, parking is going to be like eliminated for the most part. So you're not going to be able to have cars. Now here in Staten Island, unlike the other boroughs, we do not have the same transit as them. We have 1 train out here, which is good. We have buses, but when it comes to Staten Island, we only have 1 train service versus the other boroughs that have trains like everywhere. And although the other boroughs make fun of Staten Island for that, I don't give a fuck. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because we have the opportunity to drive around. So this borough, if you're gonna live in Staten Island, you need a car. If not, you know, the buses, they run good, but you do need a car. And therefore, you have freedom to travel. Now, if you was to go to the other boroughs, it's so cramped up. I don't know why they have cars out there to begin with, because it's just so cramped up. But if they pass this City for Yes for Housing, you're not going to have no cars whatsoever. So your freedom is going to be, you're not going to really have that much freedom. And yeah, those other boroughs can laugh at Staten Island for not really having that much train systems out here. But the fact that we don't have that allows us to have the freedom to go wherever we please with our cars. And with relying on trains and buses, you're only limited to where you can go. Versus cars, you can go pretty much anywhere. So the fact that we're not relying on that is a threat to the Democrats of New York City, because they want to get rid of as much freedom with the citizens out here as much as possible. Even though they're not saying that, I'm saying that because their plans is getting really ridiculous. Another thing that they're doing is they want to get rid of single family homes. So with this City of Yes for Housing, they will be allowed to build in people's backyards. They will be allowed to turn people's garages into like little apartments, attics into like little apartments, whatever they can use in the single family area. So like the backyard, the garages, the attics, whatever. They want to get rid of that and build little apartments. And I find that really ridiculous, really ridiculous. My parents, they have a house, and I can't picture people just rolling up on them and being like, hey, we need to use your backyard, your attic, your garage, your basement too. They want to use the basement and turn that into apartments. Now, I don't know what world we're living in, or at least New York, but this ain't it. Another thing they want to do is build on top of stores. Now, they already have a bunch of that in like Brooklyn, the Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, I believe. But in Staten Island, we have that somewhat, but not really. and they want to build more apartments on top of stores. And Staten Islanders, for the most part, is not for that, especially me, because one, we're going to be cramped up like sardines. And when you have a bunch of people in one area living up all up on under each other, it's going to cause chaos. There's going to be a lot of drama. There's going to be, you know, a lot of violence. It's not healthy. Mentally, it's not healthy to be living up under people like that. Like, I like my space. Like, give me my space. And when it comes to Staten Island, we do have space out here. And that's why people who come out here, they actually like it. You know, at first, with the other boroughs, they talk so much shit about Staten Island. And I don't know why, because most of them don't even travel and they never even been out here. But they talk a lot of shit. But the one thing I would say, when you come out here, you are going to have a lot of space. When you go out to the city, you go out to Manhattan, Brooklyn, Bronx, it's so cramped up. And it stinks. It stinks out there. Almost on every block you turn, it stinks. When you come to Staten Island, it's like you're breathing in fresh air. And, you know, I'm not for this city of yes for housing. I'm saying no to this city of yes for housing. It is going to mess up the culture of Staten Island, and it's going to be another Brooklyn, and we don't want to be like Brooklyn. We don't want to be like the Bronx. We do not want to be like Manhattan or Queens. We want to be like Staten Island. We actually, for the most part, love being the forgotten borough, because when you are the forgotten borough, they don't come here with that bullshit. And now they want to come here with that bullshit. And I don't like it. Now, what I'm hoping for, honestly, I'm hoping that Staten Island can succeed from the city. It's been trying to separate from the city since, I think, 1989. We do not move like the rest of the boroughs. And that's a really good thing. In my opinion, you know, growing up here and living in Staten Island and then going to high school in the city and seeing what it's like out there and traveling to Brooklyn, the Bronx and whatnot. The grass is never greener on the other side, and they barely even got grass to begin with. So traveling out there, because like I said, they talk so much shit, and I really wanted to know what is so good about like Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, whatever. And Queens, they're there, but traveling to the other boroughs, it's like, it's overly hype. Like, I get the culture, I understand it because I'm from New York, but it's overhyped in my opinion. And I love being where I'm at, and I'm hoping that Staten Island will separate from the city and just be a county of its own, because we do not move like them. And the way they want to change Staten Island, I'm meditating, I'm woosahing. Like, I'm not walking around like an angry person 24/7, but just reading up on these policies that they want to do with Staten Island. It's too much. It's too much, and we do need to separate. Now listen, I love New York. As much as I've traveled, I've definitely seen that there's no other place like New York, but these Democrats are running this place to the ground. And the reason why I am putting this video out here is because if they can do this here, if they succeed here, and the more this spreads out, it will happen pretty much everywhere. And I don't like how this is going. But then again, I'm really hopeful, because there are a lot of people that are just like, hell no. And there's a lot of fighters out here in Staten Island. And I know in other states, there's a lot of fighters where I know y'all would not be having that. Small town people, this is another thing. When it comes to people who live in the city, they miscalculate how small town folks move. It's like when they travel out, they think that, you know, they the shit or whatever, like biggest boss on the block. But Do not underestimate small town folks. And the one thing I know about small town folks, they like their peace, just like how Staten Islanders like their peace, our peace. So I could definitely see a lot of people fighting against this. But like I said, I'm not a Democrat and I'm not a Republican. Both got their flaws, but the Democrats right now, they're doing the most. They are doing the most. And you know, another thing, now that I'm thinking about this more, because the reason why they're doing this is because they're saying that there's a lot of people here and we don't have that much room, blah, 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 blah. And my thing is, if there's no more room here, then how about have those people move out somewhere? There's so much space out of these islands of New York City. When you cross the bridge, there is so much land. There's so much space here in America. Why are y'all coming here to New York? Like, why? There's no more room. And it makes no sense to just build on top of what's already here and taking away people's homes and turning it into apartments. That doesn't even make any sense. And it's just, I don't know, it just sounds pretty stupid to me to even want to think about doing that. And, you know, for these people that are coming out here, go somewhere else. There are other places in the U.S. besides New York. Trust me, there's other places. Even though those places might not want y'all either, I'm just saying, like, there's other places. But yeah, man, the moral of the story here is to vote wisely, because if you vote based off of feelings, you're gonna get stuck with people in office like this trying to propose these type of programs, and it don't make any sense. Like, it really don't. So yeah,